Hey guys, Brad coming at you here with a little, I guess we'll do NFL free agency. What I liked, maybe what I didn't like. It won't be too long though. We'll keep it to, we'll start with, this will be number one. I've got 5 things, but number one will be trapped into teams, okay? So teams I like what they did because I like the philosophy of what they did. First is the Bears. Getting Joe Thuney in a trade with the Chiefs. Getting Jonah Jackson in a trade with the Rams. Shirt up both guard positions. Brilliant. So you're like, through the middle. Well, wait, they weren't done. They went and get Drew Dahlman, center from the Falcons, who was pretty amazing last year. And they have completely revamped the whole center of an offensive line that stunk. So, obviously, Joe Thuney's getting older. He's still been very good. And at the end of the year, they had him playing left tackle, which he shouldn't have been playing. And it finally caught up to him in the Super Bowl. Jonah Jackson got hurt with the Rams, and then a cheap guy takes over, and it's like, well, you're expendable now, right? But still a very good player. And he played with Ben Johnson in Detroit when he was in Detroit. And then Dahlman, Falcons, I'm kind of surprised they let him go, but that, and then on the other side of the ball, they needed another defensive tackle. Well, we went and go get Grady Jarrett, who was released from the Falcons. You want to talk about he was released and signed like that. There must have already been, hey, just release me, I'll sign with the Bears type thing. I mean, it was like that. So even though lost a step, still a very good player. That's what they needed. And then they need someone on the other side of Montez Sweat. And you probably don't want to just depend on a draft pick to do that. So they go to Indianapolis and get Deo Odeyingbo. I don't know. You know, he's had one good year out of 3. He had one good year as a pass rusher. Came out of college like that. He came out of college injured. So he kind of lost his first year. Then he had 8 sacks the next year. And then last year he kind of dipped with 3, but if they can get any kind of pass rush, because they need something on the other side of Sweat. So, but overall, they attack the lines of scrimmage. So you get an A++ at least for effort, even if this doesn't work. Maybe it was the wrong players, the philosophy. They at least said we're not going to go into the season without addressing the offensive and defensive line. So thank you, Bears, for at least using your brains and trying to make something that can actually work. The other team who did something similar, the Minnesota Vikings. A little surprised they released Garrett Bradbury. They go get Ryan Kelly, which is an upgrade. However, a little more injury concern. So they'll be crossing their fingers the whole time with that. They go get a veteran, Javon Hargrave. They go get Will Fries, probably one of the best guards in the free agency class, and Trey Smith got re-signed and stuff. So I like what they did. They got Jonathan Allen from Washington, who still has enough juice left in the tank. So again, what did they do? Attack the line of scrimmage. So love it. Bears, Vikings, you were probably my favorite just because you did that. All right, so that was number one, Bears, Vikings. Like the philosophy of what they did. So now we'll go to 4 individual players. So this will be the next thing. So the first individual player, one of my favorite signings in free agency, and you're going to be like, casual football guy may not even know who he is. I don't know. But we're going to New England. Now, New England signed a bunch of defenders. Mike Brable came to town. He says, we are going to be good on defense, right? Signs Milton Williams from the Eagles, big contract. Signs Carlton Davis, nice big contract. But you know what? My favorite signing from New England was Robert Spillane, the linebacker at 3-year, $37 million. This guy brings nasty. The guy is all over the field, tackling machine. I think he had like over 150 tackles last season. He originally started with the Steelers. Steelers had an injury. He fills in. Everybody's like, who is this freaking guy? He's actually kind of good. And then he's just improved since. Went to the Raiders for 2 years. Amazing both years with the Raiders, I thought. It's the guy I wanted, you know. So unfortunately, he heads to New England. But Robert Spillane, my favorite free agency signing for the money at 3 years, $37 million. So Robert Spillane, I wish nothing but the worst for you in New England, but I love you. Next up, good to see this guy didn't get forgotten about. There's always some guys that are like really good, and you're like, how come you don't make more money? Or how come you don't get talked about? So we're going to a signing in Jacksonville. Jacksonville doesn't usually have a lot of great signings. They usually overpay people who kind of are overrated. This time, I think they got a gem. Slot corner, which is mainly what he does, coming from Dallas, Jordan Lewis at a 3-year, $30 million deal. Slot corner is a starting job now. To me, it's every bit as important as the outside one. And he was the best cover man in Dallas the last few years. Robert Bland and Trevon Diggs get all the hype because they get the interceptions, right? But they get beat a lot. This guy doesn't get beat very often. So Jordan Lewis, by far their best cover guy for the last few years. A reasonable deal in Jacksonville. And he's been in the league like 7-8 years, so good to see him get his flowers. I love it. Always very underrated. Good to see him get a decent deal. Like I said, I don't think we value the slot corner high enough. It's a starting job. It's as important as the other corner spot these days because everyone plays 3 wide receivers. So Jordan Lewis, my second favorite. My third favorite signing, and you notice these aren't always going to be the best players. These are what you got for the value, how you fit into your next team, okay? Third one, T.J. Slaton. He coming from Green Bay, which I'm surprised they let him go because this guy has dominant moments. Of course, needs to work a little bit on consistency, but this guy can be dominant and a problem. So at 2 years, $15 million, he's going to Cincinnati. They re-signed P.J. Hill. I think they just need to keep Hendrickson for a year and then let him walk. They obviously, everybody knows they re-signed Chase and Higgins. We'll see how that works out long term. But I also don't blame them, You want to keep your quarterback happy. It's just keeping those receivers healthy at the same time. But T.J. Slaton, I think, very underrated defensive tackle. I'm surprised Green Bay let him walk, to be honest with you. So the guy is just kind of could be a monster. Just get a little bit more consistency to him. I mean, that's why he only made 2 year 15. But, this could you could look back and I think it's an amazing signing for the Bengals. And then the last one, the cheapest deal on here. At 1 year, $1.92 million. So many of you know Josh Sweat dominant down the stretch for the Eagles. He earns a contract with the Cardinals at almost $19 million a year. Okay? Well, they're like, how do I cheaply replace that? Let's go over to a former Patriot who had 2 very good years and then just kind of dipped. But the guy has ability, and that's Josh Uche. All right, defensive end. As soon as I saw this signing, I'm like, they're going to get a guy who gets 8 sacks for $1.92 million. This is what's going to happen. I can just pin it now, okay? Because he's going to be a backup for them. But he's going to come in on these downs, and you're going to be like, man, why didn't we sign this guy for $2 million? So Josh Uche, like I said, he had 2 good years, and then he just kind of fell out, in New England. That was a crap show. But for $1.92 million, what a fit for the Eagles. They get a cheap replacement. This is why they're good every year. And watch, they'll probably draft another one, right? But love that. I just saw that, and I just thought it was a perfect place for him to go to because a lot of this is just about fit as well. So those were my 5 favorite things. You got Bears, Vikings, philosophy-wise, love what they did. Patriots, Robert Spillane. Jordan Lewis, Jaguars. T.J. Slaton, Bengals. Josh Uche, Eagles. I try not to talk about the same thing like, oh, do you like Devontae Adams going to the ring? You guys hear that on TV all day. You don't need to hear it from me, right? So I wanted to bring you a little something different. Not too long, around 10 minutes. I think that's perfect. I couldn't be on the IRP this week. Just schedule didn't match up. But I will be on there around draft time. I'm off that week, so we will figure something out. So yeah, go check out the IRP too. I think they talked a little about it last night. I haven't watched it yet. But, yeah, that's all I got. Hope you enjoyed the video. What was your either favorite team of what they did or single signing of free agency? It can be a high price guy or it can be the Josh Uches of the world. I like to do a mixture. I mainly went with the value guys, but let me know what your favorite, it doesn't even have to be free agency signing, just move in the offseason, whether it's the veteran wide receivers that were moved or whatever. But let me hear what your favorite one was. And that's all I got. Bye-bye.